Welcome to the A1 podcast. It is your host, Asif Ali. I'm joined today by former CFL defensive lineman and who is now mounting a comeback at the age of 57 to the Canadian Football League. The one, the only, number 61, Darin Burns. Darin, how you doing today, brother?
Good. How you doing, man? Good to be on the show.
Doing good. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's great to have you. I mean, let me first ask you this. I mean, how's your year been? And try kind of like, I mean, how's it been? I think there's an article about you last year trying to come back, but then COVID hit. So kind of how have you been adjusting? With everything, right?
This has been a challenge. I think the COVID situation has been harder than anything. The gyms are open, the gyms are closed, the counts are up, the counts are down. You start working out for 3 months and you got to take 3 weeks off. Right now we're in a time where it's downtime. So today we're in the middle of a snowstorm, so I got to go and shovel the driveway. So that was my workout for the day today. So, but yeah, it's been challenging. It's been a year and 14 months now of doing this. I was planning to come back and play last year, but with COVID hitting, and now everything's just got stalled to this year. So it's been a blessing because I'm in a lot better shape now than I would have been last year. So
Right, right. And so talk to me about that because obviously, I mean, you and I both played, so we kind of know what it
yeah,
takes to kind of compete.
yeah.
What is your kind of how have you adapted your training regimen, with now just, kind of with COVID versus like before pre-COVID?
Well, with like when we were shut down for about 6 8 weeks, I was at home, so I would have dumbbells. I'd be training in the basement, leaning against the couch. I had a trainer that would work with me online and what have you. So it was just a matter of just adapting. I mean, turn your couch into an incline press, like bento rows, dumbbell rows, stuff like that. So yeah, it was very Fred Flintstone barbaric kind of workouts, but it's worked out. And then you get into the gym, and then now I'm actually really motivated. I can't wait till the gym opens, which for 10 years I didn't want to see a gym. So but the journey, it's been a fun journey. I've been enjoying it.
100%. No, I mean, you look great too. I mean, you look like you're in great condition, and that's not and that's testament of hard work. So I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's something that we should all recognize. And I mean, I still it's still mind blowing to me that you'd want to come out because like I mean, I'm 30. I'm just like, dude, my shit, all my joints are fucking aching every day I wake up, and you're at
Yeah.
57. I mean, you want to talk about inspirations and motivations. I mean, hey man, talk about no excuses. Darin Burns is the prime example. So
Well, I played at 45, 46, and 47 years of age, and I just broke a couple of fingers and got one concussion, so it wasn't too major.
yeah,
Like I am now. Like right now, I'm training as if like I've really got to turn the clock back because take an extra 10 years off. So I've been training as if I've been in my 20s. I've been like 5 a.m. at the morning, 5:30 in the morning, working out for 2 hours every day. Like it's been 7 days a week when the gym's open. I'm on a diet, or I shouldn't say a diet, a lifestyle changes. My trainer, my one of my trainers, Sonia, she calls it. Don't ever call it a diet. It's called a lifestyle. So I've been just going through the routines and lifting, and I got visually in my head where I want to be, and my strength now, I'm just as strong now as I was when I was 25. I mean, I'm benching 225 for 22 reps. I was going to hit 400-pound bench this week, but the gym's closed, so it's going to take me a couple weeks to hit that target again. And my speed is there, and everything else. So, the idea of the hype about playing pro football, like all I want to do is like get the opportunity, and it looks like it'll happen, is to go to a CFL training camp, get a preseason game in. And it's mostly to honor my mentor who passed away of cancer, Bruce Smith. He was a guy that played for the Philadelphia Eagles and then went to the Hamilton Ticats and bounced around CFL. And his last team was the Toronto Argonauts. And he passed away 8 years ago. So it's kind of, I'm doing it as a tribute to him because I always promised to keep his name and his legacy relevant, because he was a good man. And it's kind of a neat thing that, here's a black guy from Texas, American, comes up to Canada, makes a life for himself. But not only that, you always hear the stories like The Blind Side and all this stuff where a white family helps out black. Well, this is a black guy from Texas that went through hell. He knew had to know his place in society and all that kind of fun stuff. But actually stopped and picked up this kid that was hitchhiking from a football camp that he was coaching at and took me to my group home and talked to me all the way there. The next day he comes over to my group home unannounced and takes me to a gym to go and lift some weights. So I owe everything to the guy.
So that's actually a perfect segue. Obviously, because like now we just go start from the beginning, your early years.
Mhm.
Talk to me about your early years. Were you always a football player, or was football kind of like did you become like a kind of a sport that you were kind of grandfathered into, kind of by those who led by example or set the example for you? Talk to me about that.
Well, I was raised in group homes. My parents split when I was 5. I went through, hell. I was sexually abused. I was beaten up. I was ridiculed at school. I had flood pants. People made fun of me, and it was a shitty upbringing. I went to 27 different schools by grade 9, and I just quit high school and said to hell with it, and figured out what I was going to do. Well, playing sports, I was into hockey. I played baseball. I played hockey as a goaltender because the league would supply you the gear, so I didn't have to buy the gear because in the group homes we didn't have any money. So I'd play hockey and I'd play baseball with the guys in the park. And then one day I was at my group home and I was in grade 9, and um, there's a football camp in running in Etobicoke, and I said I'm gonna go try that. So I borrowed some gear from the school and I went to the Toronto Argonaut Etobicoke camp for high school kids, and I went out there and I started hitting people, and I really enjoyed it. And I had a lot of bent up frustration, obviously, from growing up, and um, it was a difficult time. But I was able to connect with football because it was a way of me unleashing a lot of anger and not going to jail. So it was very therapeutic. So I was never really a talented football player in the sense that. Um, like you got guys that are really good with technique and what have you. I was just pure balls out, nasty. I'm in your face and I'll rip your fucking head
Fucking
off
head
if I
off.
want to.
Yeah.
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 So that's the way that I played, and I played with an edge. And I was fortunate to have Bruce in my life who mentored me. So I became a ball boy for the Toronto Argonauts at 14. The head coach was Forrest Gregg, that played for Vince Lombardi. Willie Wood, that played for Vince Lombardi. So
Yeah.
I got to be a part of seeing that extension of Vince Lombardi through Forrest Gregg. I was a ball boy with the Argonauts, and the two other ball boys, their dads played for Toronto, was Alonzo Highsmith and Eric Metcalf. So those two guys had pretty damn good NFL careers after the fact. That Eric's dad was Terry, that played for the Cardinals and in Washington in the NFL in the 70s, and then came to Toronto because the CFL actually used to pay more money than the NFL back in the 70s.
Right.
So it was it was basically playing football came to me just because of anger issues, and my dad used to kick the shit out of me when I was a kid. I went through hell. Let's face it, but football saved my life. It gave me direction. It gave me some discipline. It depends on some of my coaches, but some of my coaches will tell you I was never really that disciplined. But it gave me purpose. It gave me direction. Most importantly, it gave me a brotherhood of a family. And in football, the guys stand beside you. They're in the trenches. They're there to protect you. We watch each other's ass, make sure everyone's comes out of the game healthy. So I just enjoyed the brotherhood of it, and I just stuck into the sport.
100%. Kind of, your story, kind of about your earlier years, kind of harkens back to a guest that you actually know who was there on Friday, Ken Shamrock, because Ken
Yep.
was basically, in the same situation, kind
Mm.
of, on through his early years. He was, in and out of foster homes, getting into fights. He was,
Mhm.
getting stabbed, stuff like that. So obviously through school, school was difficult for him because he was already starting, behind, at special
Mm.
ed. So basically, he used sports as an outlet to kind of, channel that aggression and channel that anger,
Yeah.
which seems very similar to your story. And I think for the viewers who don't know this, you actually know Ken personally.
Yes, I
So
met Ken a few times when he was wrestling up in Canada. Bret Hart was a good friend of mine. Davey Boy Smith was a good friend of mine. Jim the Ultimate Warrior is a good friend of mine. Randy Macho Man Savage, I used to eat pizza together. I'm naming all these dead guys. I was just talking to Paul Roma, who was tag team with Hercules with Power and Glory. Actually, Paul's going to come up to my game in May 7th when I play for the Moncton Mustangs here in the Maritime Football League, too, because that will be football history that night. I'll be the only guy to actually play in 6 consecutive decades of football. It's never been done before. So
yeah,
that is an automatic. That's May 7th. That's a semi-pro league. And then I'm waiting to see what happens with the CFL. But so Paul's going to be up. Hercules is a good friend. He just passed away just a couple of years ago. So I was fortunate to hang out. I used to own a gym in Ottawa, and all the wrestlers would come into Ottawa, and I would close the gym down so these guys could train without anybody around them. And I would order pizza, and Randy and I would sit in the office, Macho Man, and we'd eat the pizza while everyone else worked out. And then we go to, but after the wrestling show, we'd go to my house and I had my pool and we would, sit, have a barbecue and have a bunch of entertainment come over to the house, and we would enjoy ourselves for the evening. And then everyone would leave the next morning and go off to the next city. So I was pretty tight with all the guys. Bret Hart, I used to go to his family's house in Calgary. I used to actually, his dad, the old man Stu, I remember one time I was standing there, he was all hunched over and stuff. And he took me downstairs to the dungeon where they teach all the guys all the wrestling and stuff like that. And I was leaning up there and he goes, let me show you how to do a chest slap. So he comes up and I'm thinking, this old guy, he's not going to hit me. Well, this guy hit me with his mitt, practically threw me through the fucking wall. I was totally impressed, but and I had Thanksgiving dinner with the Bretts and the Harts. And so I've been fortunate to meet some pretty interesting people in my travels. And it's all because of football, the gym business and what have you. So it's a very tight, most of the guys that wrestled played football at some point in their life, right? So we have that common bond that we talk about and stuff. So
100%, and I think that's a very interesting point because obviously, I played JUCO, then I went to the Arena League, and then I obviously, made a career out of that. You obviously took it to the CFL, right, which is like, one notch above. And I also trained with guys who were in the CFL who played for the Tiger Cats, and also and play ended their careers with the Argos and stuff like that. So I saw a lot of parallels of that. Same thing with Ken and me when I started talking to him because he played at JUCO here in Cali, and I also went to JUCO in Cali. San Jose City College, West Valley College. So yeah, to your point, it's very true. Most guys who do wrestling play football at one point, just because, and it's awesome. So
well, even like The Rock, I know Dwayne, and he's the same thing. I mean, University of Miami, he actually came to the CFL, tried it in Calgary, didn't make it.
Yeah,
which is probably a good thing for his career because I mean he could buy the league right now. So I mean, he's done all right by getting cut, But I've been fortunate to meet some interesting people in my life, and to still call them friends today. And some have passed on and gone to the next life, but we play hard and we also partied hard, So seeing some of the guys fall down along the way, but unfortunately, I guess God's not done with me because every morning you wake up, that means He's still got some work for you.
100%, brother. That saying is true to life. It's true to life. Yeah. So, I totally agree with that. So now obviously, you talked about kind of, the youth years and playing youth football, and with the Argos and being the ball boy. Talk to me about kind of how you transitioned to becoming a professional in the CFL, because when you quit high school and you start doing things on the side, to kind of get ingratiated in the sport, at the pro level. How did you transition, or kind of what was your journey to get into the CFL in the 80s?
Well, I worked with jobs during the day, and then I went on to play junior football. So I started when I was 15. I was playing for the Etobicoke Argos, and the league is usually 18 to 22. So I was playing at 15. I was playing as a tight end. Then I went to Hamilton Hurricanes and the Burlington Braves, and I just had a job and kept working. But it was kind of funny is when I was 18, I would go down to the TICAT office and I would walk in the office and see Coach Zuger and Al Bruno and that. And I'd say, listen, I want to try out. And they're like, Darin, you're too young, get lost, blah, blah, blah. So I kept doing it, being persistent. When I was 19, I was in Joe Zuger's office, and I asked him, and he's like, no. He's the general manager of the TICATs. And he was like, no, you're too young. Well, while I was there, I think there's somebody upstairs looking out for me because the phone rang, and he picked up the phone and he was talking to this agent, and her name was Joanne. And she goes, I'll never forget. She goes, I got this guy named Harkness, offensive lineman, that's an NCAA shot put champion. We're gonna we want to have him for a tryout. So what Zuger did was he put the hands on the microphone on the phone. He says, Darin, do you want your shot as a pro football player? I said, yeah. He said, can you be here at 2:00? I said, hell yeah. So he made an appointment for the agent to bring this offensive lineman. So basically, I was supposed to be just a pylon to audition this guy to see if he was going to be a good football player. So anyhow, I left his office. I went down into the players' room, and Rod Skillman and Grover Covington were in the locker room, and Christian Covington, who plays with the Dallas Cowboys, who played with the Oilers, Houston Texans. His dad was a team. So I went up to him and said, guys, I'm getting this shot. So Grover and Rod, they pulled me aside and we went over some plays, like some moves that he wanted me to do. So 2:00 shows up. We do 10 one-on-ones. I blew this guy up 9 out of 10 times. And on the 10th one, it was a draw because we were both tired.
Yeah.
They ended up not signing him. I got brought into camp. that's how I got in, just being persistent and being at the right place at the right time. And, and again, I had some good, when you consider Grover Covington is probably one of the best defensive linemen ever to play in the CFL. Bruce looking down at me, Bruce was pretty good too, but I had some pretty good mentors and people around me to get me ready. And the fact of watching Bruce conduct himself as a pro athlete and going through the whole, watching his career and being with him, and he was at all my games, he supported me. So, I've been fortunate just to learn off of these guys. And, my junior in Burlington, it's kind of cool is that if you look in the record books in Canadian junior football, which is over 100 years, if you look under sacks in a game, sacks in a season, and sacks in a career, I'm in the top 3 at all categories. And I only played 2 seasons as a defensive lineman, and the 2 guys above me played 5 years. So had I played 5 years, I would have set records that would be forever. But I think,
Right.
I had 4 sacks in a game. I had just a really amazing junior career, and that just propelled me into a pro career. And my pro career wasn't the greatest. I mean, I was more of a pylon training camp kind of guy. Grunt, get your opportunities and what have you. But I wouldn't trade anything for the world. I had an amazing time, and I've met a lot of really good friends, and we're still friends today. Like they were brothers and stuff. And for me, that's the most important thing out of all this, because I don't have a family. Like I because of my upbringing and the issues that I've had, relationships have always been an issue. Like you're always waiting for someone to leave you or something like that. So you kind of always end these relationships. And I've been married a couple times, and you walk away from it, and it's just because I've been just fucked up my whole life. And now what I'm doing with my trainer and Sonia and the people around me is that we've been just looking at my life, trying to find out how we can straighten this out, setting a goal of coming back and playing football. So clearing my mind, clearing my heart, and just getting myself ready to play. And I'm totally looking forward to the opportunity I'm being blessed with right now. So and I'm getting another 5 seconds of fame.
100%, man. No, you definitely are. And I think what your point, and that also resonates with me too, because for me too, with like stuff like relationships, personal life, stuff like that, it's almost like football kind of just sets that precedent to kind of like, okay, you're gonna get cut.
Yeah.
Relationships are fucking gonna end because women are heartless and you're just a fucking dude who's gonna be swapped off the next dude, right? So
Yeah.
I just that resonates so heavily with me. But I also think you made an interesting point. Had you played 5 straight years, and you would have probably been a lot better. And for me, I wasn't able to play in high school because I was a fucking knucklehead my first 2 years, but I was able to play in college, junior college,
Mm-hmm.
and make that into a career. Now everyone's like, "Oh, like awesome! If you play in high school, you could have made it to the NFL." Maybe,
Yeah.
but you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't care how famous people are. I don't care about having a million followers. I'm thankful and blessed for what I was able to have. Like you, fractured fingers, concussion, whatever. My joints are done, my knees are done. But it was a great career, and I think your journey resonates with me so heavily because hearing that from obviously from someone who played at the highest level, it doesn't matter if you're a Pro Bowler or an All Star. No, it matters that you made it, and it matters that you're able to go in, day out, week in, week out, night in, night out, and give it 110 fucking %. Because if you don't, then what the fuck are you living for? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I've whenever I put the pot on, I always play at 100%. My teammates know that I was a kind of guy that could always count on. My junior coach, Doug Trimble, was actually talking to my son because my son's going to probably end up in the NFL, playing pro as an offensive lineman. I don't know where I went wrong breeding out an offensive lineman, but I mean, anyhow, he was talking to my son. He says, I remember a game when we had to win this to go on to the finals, and we called the timeout, and basically I had to go and block a field goal, and sure enough, I went through and dove through and took the ball in the chest, and my coach still remembers that to today. And for me, it was against the Hamilton Hurricanes when I played for the Burlington Braves, which was my former team, so it made it even more sweeter to do that. But I've had some pretty good moments in my career and a lot of good memories, and now I'm just hoping I can add to it this year.
100%.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to teaching some young kids to have some respect for their elders.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm like my coach Rob Weir at the Mustangs was quoted in the newspaper saying that he's seen me working out, what have you. He says I'm in better shape than 20-year-olds on the team right now. So I'm running a 5.240 at 300 pounds. That's not too bad.
Pretty
My
damn good.
bench, like I said, it's going to be at 400. I've got a 8.5 foot broad jump and a 29-inch vertical. So
Oof.
those are some numbers that in a CFL combine would be comparable to the top 3 or 4 eligible in the draft in this year coming out of college. And our league has a lot of college players in it, so it's going to be a good test and a challenge. So if I can get through the first couple of games, I've got enough support with former teammates and what have you that are supporting my cause to try to go to the CFL. And again, it's not to make the league, it's not to do anything like that. I don't want to do anything other than spread the word of what Bruce did. Bruce was a star in Toronto. He became a minister later on in life. He had an area in Toronto where the crime rate was so high that he had to go in there and do something. He ended up going in there and doing something. And after he died, um, I promised Bruce that I would continue on looking after these kids. And I flew down to Toronto from Moncton and I took them to go bowling. And we were in the bus and we were going down to go bowling and pizza and what have you. It was like 20 kids, and all their kids, their parents were killed by gunfire. I mean, boys, like both parents have been murdered and what have you. So this is a pretty dark situation to go into. And the funding got cut for their program because the crime rate had dropped so low, it was below the average, that the politicians actually cut the funding off instead of throwing more money at it, which is so stupid. So I'm in a bus with these kids. I'm saying, geez, maybe we should go do a drive-by or something like that, hit a store and
Right.
bring the crime rate up a little bit. It didn't make sense. So I'm trying to keep Bruce's story alive because Bruce was a great man. The story, what Bruce did for me and my life and my kids and all that kind of stuff is it's part of his legacy. I mean, in 2008, I went down to the Dominican Republic when I was 17. I met a family, the Cruz family, and became friends with them. And they took me in as almost like one of their kids. And I ended up bringing Jesus to Canada in I think it was like 87. And he's been here since then, and he's a millionaire now. He's got his own business where he employs 50 Canadians. We've changed the whole family. So I took Bruce down to the Dominican Republic to show him that one act of kindness that he did when I was 14 is still being paid forward today. Now you've got a third world country where nieces and nephews, second and third generation, becoming doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. So the power of an athlete, the power of meeting and working with kids and changing kids' lives, it doesn't get any better than that. You're a pro athlete for 2-3 years, okay, and at the end of the day, who really gives a shit afterwards? But you know something, if you put yourself in the community, get yourself involved, you could be the third string quarterback. You could end up having a much more successful and valuable life by investing in your community, investing with the kids, investing with that. It's the biggest reward. So for me, getting the rewards of seeing all these other people that I've helped. And again, it's all because of what Bruce did. And to make it with today's thing going on in the States with this racial tenants, people all pissed off at each other and stuff like that. The thing about football teaches you to love whoever's beside you. It could be a fucking Martian, it could be a black guy, Chinese guy, this, that, white guy. It doesn't matter. As society, we've got to get over all of this bullshit that's going on. There's a lot of problems with religion and stuff like that make people go crazy and start problems and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, what I believe in and what you believe in, that's your own thing, but that shouldn't change how we respect one another and respect life and love. So we peel our skin off, we're all red, and I think that football teaches you the values of life, teaches you to respect people. And like I said, here's the black guy from Texas that went through all that stuff and took the time to help out a skinny long hair white kid and changed my life, got me lifting weights, had a huge impact. I had to do his eulogy at his funeral. I mean, when he passed. And it's been, so for me, this whole comeback was to bring more of awareness to of Bruce Smith and what he did. And, because I think it's a story that needs to be told. And I think that the younger generation now that's out there, that's trying to, stop this racial bullshit that's going on. Black Lives Matter and all stuff, which are all great movements and stuff. But I'd like to get to the point where all lives matter, and we all love each other as the human race, not as a black race, a white race, or what have you. I always joke with the guys that when you got a helmet on, you can never tell who's a white guy or a black guy unless somebody clocks a 4240. Well, then we know it's a black guy because we're not capable of that. But
Okay.
other than that, I mean, football just teaches you the good values in life, respect, hard work, and being tough. And when the going gets tough, well, that's when the games are always won and lost in the fourth quarter, man. That's when you got to suck it up. And that's life in general. So I've just been fortunate, and I've had a dream, and dreams come from something. Everything in this planet comes from a dream. Like, people got tired of walking, we made a car. People got tired of driving a car, we made a plane. We had phones on the walls. Now everyone's got a cell phone today. All that comes from somebody getting a dream and an idea in their head, and then going out and executing it. And I believe that's a higher power that's speaking to us. It's telling us that this is what we could be, or this is what we can be. And I feel strongly. I've seen visions of myself knocking out some quarterbacks now, and I see all those things and stuff. But the biggest thing that you do run into when you dream big is that, how you kill a dream or a vision is you tell a small-minded person. Small-minded people always tend to take it away. I've had people say to me, "Oh, he can't do this. What the hell? It's a joke. He's 50." Well, put your helmet on, line up across from me, and let's see if it's a joke. That's
Thank
number one.
you.
And
Thank
number
you.
two, what am I doing hurting you? If I'm out there doing my thing, this is my dream, this is my journey, and this is what it should all be about. So, I've talked to my friends. I've got Leo from the CFL Alumni Association, who's been a big supporter of me. We're like brothers, and our Alumni Association is great. It's there to help players and needs, stuff like that. But we both are on the same page that this is a great story for the alumni. It's a great story for Canadian football. It's a great story for sport. And more importantly, it's a good human story, saying that, like, this is like, we all got to be kind to each other. We all got to work hard, and we all got to do things. So I think that, I've just been very, very fortunate. Our CFL game up here in Canada, I don't know if you've seen it, 3 downs. It's kind of like a arena football on steroids, in a sense, where it's a lot of pass, a lot of action, big fields. And players, 12 players on the field, lots of touchdowns, high scoring. So if you like that that's what our game is up here.
100%. And what you just said though stuck so heavily with me, because what you said, the outside noise and people's opinions. I posted yesterday on my Facebook, because I mean, if you're a pro athlete, you're gonna get that external noise just coming in and seeping in, just because that's what it is. Because now you finally, I think the true testament of how you made it is when you start getting, negativity coming your way. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, obviously, like, people will say, "Oh yeah, you're too old. This is a joke. Like, what the fuck are you doing?" Right? People like me, like, "Oh yeah, like, yeah, like you're like, what do you say? Like, yeah, you're not even a professional. You're an amateur. You're this. You're that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your whole thing's fake. Blah blah blah." I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? But I mean, that drives me. I think with you, that also drives you, right?
Yeah. When somebody says it can't be done, then I try to find a way of getting it done. I mean, that's just the way I played my ball. That's the way my coaches coached me. Doug Trimble always had a thing: control your mind, control your body, and just get out there and get the job done. We got plenty of time to rest after the game. So, just, sacrifice and go. So, and that's like in anything in life, people give up on things too easy. People gave up on me when I was a kid, and it was just one person that saw something in me, and, here I am today. I mean, you can't, it's just, you can't listen to what people have to say, because, something, at the end of the day, people don't see what you see. We all have our own dreams. We all have our own goals. And, some people are jealous. Some people, because they're sitting at home drinking beer and eating potato chips on the couch, and they used to be a great high school football player. And when somebody does something what I'm going to do, they're going to like, well, geez, he can't do that. Well, it's because you can't, because you're too fucking fat and you're sitting on your ass and you're not doing anything about it. Age means absolutely shit. Okay. With today, with science and the way we eat and all that stuff, if you take care of yourself and you exercise and do all that stuff, you can turn the clock back. The new 50 is like a third, like it's being 30. So I can still do this stuff. I can still run. I can still hit, and I can still do all kinds of things. So, I'm the body. Do the bones take a little easier? But then you got to put more calcium in your diet. So it's all about just understanding your body, understanding everything else. Like I've got a trainer, Ron Oliver, who's we're very much into the water. Okay, keeping your body in a high alkaline state where it fights diseases and what have you. It helps push more water into your muscle and more water takes the toxins out and proteins and things like that. So if somebody wants to message me and stuff like that on Facebook, I'll be gladly put you in touch with this guy. This guy's a miracle worker when it comes to nutrition and understanding the body. And then I've got another lady named Sonia who works with me in my mind and get me right, because there's a lot of doubt, a lot of stuff, and we've been able to peel back layers and stuff like that to get a better understanding of my life and where I am and what's been going on. I got my buddy Herb, who's been training me in the mornings at the gym. I got another young little lady named Kamisha who does my stretching and what have you. And then I've got John Gonzalez from Rehab One who works on giving me a massage, my treatment, and working on my joints and stuff. So my body right now is ready to roll as if it's a 30-year-old guy, So I'm, and it's all, it's all about doing the things and working hard and not listening to the noise. I've told a couple people, I said, training camp starts in April. If you don't think I got what it takes, bring some helmets and come on and practice in front of me. And we'll see if I got it or not, so yeah, I'm going to turn a bunch of heads on May 7th.
100%. Now I'm looking forward to that. And kind of what you mentioned about, having a 30-year-old body. I think you have an above 30-year-old body, because I'm 30. I still can't imagine doing what you're doing at 57. So it's awesome.
I have a lot of people kicking me in the ass to get that. I used the analogy one day on another show. I'm like a car at the Indianapolis 500. I got a pit crew and everyone just works on me, and then once they're done, I get off and I just take off and I go. So the food gets in front of me, this gets in front of me, these weights get in front of me, and all I just do is I do what I'm told. And yeah, I'm feeling great. I mean, I got 22-inch neck, 20-inch arm, 35 waist, 60 chest. Those are some pretty good numbers.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah. The vain side of me wishes I could go to the Dominican Republic and throw on a pair of shorts and walk around the pool, but with COVID and stuff, I'll have to wait a while. But I'm actually feeling really good with where I've come from, because I got pretty dark there for a while. After Bruce passed, life lost a lot of meaning. I was looking, you contemplate you're not even living anymore, right? And you just kind of get into a dark zone. And next thing you know, one day I looked at myself and I had a 47 waist, and I was like, what the did I do to myself?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I just went to the gym and started baby stepping, and my son was making fat jokes of me and stuff like that. So and I mean, he's a cocky little kid. He's a really good lineman and stuff like that. He's 6'4", 300, so he's well on his way, and he's strong. So I've caught up to him in a lot of the strength exercises now. So now he's not as pointing at making fun of his dad anymore, because he knows that I can give it right back to him now, right?
Yeah.
I've even we've had a joke where my coach actually asked me not to, because it wouldn't be good, but I wanted to go one-on-one against him. He played on Team Canada, won the world championship under the under 20. He's 17. He's the only kid on Team Canada that played every snap on offensive line. He made the all-star teams. He played for our provincial teams here. Then he went to Episcopal in Alexandria, Virginia for 2 years and played there. Made first team All-State in Virginia, got numerous NCAA scholarships, went to Tennessee Tech, decided it wasn't for him, came back to Canada because the coach that he wanted to coach came back to McMaster. He got Rookie of the Year. He got the Yates Cup championship and made the OUA all rookie team. That kid's well on his way of being a superstar football player, but I still would like to kick his ass.
Yeah, the old man strength. That, all right?
Yeah. I told him I'm not ready to hand the throne over to him yet. Like a couple of years ago, yeah, I was ready to give up on life, period. But now, no. The guy I am now is the same guy I was 30 years ago, and cocky, arrogant, and ready to go. And you have to be like that if you want to play the sport. If you don't think that you're good, then you shouldn't be playing any sport at a high competitive level. Because I think that when you go into a locker room, there's 45 of the greatest football players that everyone's got in their own mind.
Right.
That's what it takes to be in a locker room. You got to get in there, perform, and fight for your time, fight for your spots. And so we all have that little bit of an arrogant swagger about ourselves. And that's part of being a top level athlete, in my opinion. If you don't have it, you'll never be it.
100% agree, and I think that's something else that I read to me also when Ken was on. He said the same thing, and like, this is what I experienced too. Obviously, when you go from JUCO, so coming from not playing high school and then playing JUCO, and then I was like there, and there's like NFL receivers doing the ladder drills, and because they're byproducts of my
Mhm,
coach, and you're just seeing
mhm,
that as the example. You're like, what the fuck, dude? And then you
mhm.
realize, okay, these are the top level guys from the high schools. Then when you go next level up to the Arena Football League, or and you're like, oh my god, these are like the best guys from their colleges. And to
Yeah.
your point, it's like you have to have something to maintain competitive edge. If you don't believe in yourself as an athlete, you're basically going to fail. I mean, you have to
Mhm,
believe that you're the best.
yeah.
And Ken also said
Well,
that too. So
well, one of my closest friends is Ben Johnson. If you remember Ben, he won the gold medal for Canada
yeah,
in '88. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He and I have been friends for over 35 years. He actually has been training my son a little bit on in running and what have you. And with COVID, it's been very difficult. But as soon as this thing gets under control, Ben will be back working with my son again because Ben's an amazing trainer. And it's about I've talked to Ben about mental focus. I've talked to him about being prepared and stuff like that. And that all comes with it. So again, that's another person that's in my life that wasn't a bad athlete to listen to. What, the fastest man on the planet? So I mean, again. So I've been fortunate to have these guys. So that's what's been able to keep me headstrong and focused. But the other part of it is that it makes it really hard in relationships. It makes it hard growing up. I mean, like I was an okay dad, but I was a complete shit as a husband. But you can't but that all comes with it. But now now today I have I'm at peace with myself. I feel good, and I'm just enjoying. Well, like I said, I keep using the word journey, but that's what Simon calls it. It's a journey, and you just don't want it to end yet. You want to keep enjoying it and keep progressing and learning more about yourself and becoming a better person. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to May and putting this getting that game under my belt and 6 decades. No one's ever done that. So I was called the Gordie Howe of football. So
Hey, there it is.
that's a good comment. And Gordy and I would have a lot in common because he was a dirty son of a bitch when he played hockey. So I mean, we have that greasy edge. But to go out and play and carry a torch for my friends that have supported me and keep Bruce's memory alive. I think this is a amazing opportunity, and like I've been like somebody asked me, he said, "Oh, Darin, you've had such a shitty life," and I remember talking to some people and they were crying when they heard my story, and I wouldn't change any of it for anything. Sexual abuse, everything that I went through to be where I'm at today, I wouldn't change any of it. I'm fortunate.
100%. And to me, it's amazing to see you kind of own that and see how that negative, kind of, early experiences shaped you to who you are today. And rather than
Yeah.
kind of pushing it aside, you've come to kind of confront it and own it as part of
Mhm.
shaping you, to become the
Yeah.
man you are.
A funny story. I was in with my buddies. We were partying. We went over to Niagara Falls, New York. And when I was a kid, there was one kid at school. His dad was the coolest guy. His name was Jimmy Latimer, and his dad was a toy designer at Mattel. Okay, now here I am. I'm in grade one. I've got no parents, flood pants. My hair was cut with a bowl. Like I would have picked on myself, right?
Right.
And so I was picked on really bad, worms shoved in my face, beaten up, kicked, spit on, put in boxes, and all that stuff. And it it hurt, But I was at this bar, and I played football in Hamilton at the time. I was with my buddy Rod Skillman, and this guy comes up to me in the bar and says to me, "Are you Darin Burns?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I don't know if you'll remember me." And I looked down at the guy, and he's balding. He had round glasses. He looked like George from Seinfeld, identical.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, I went to school with you. And I go, "Well, what's your name?" And he goes, "Jimmy Latimer." And I looked at him and I go, "Rod, come over here for a second. Take a look at this. Remember that guy I told you used to beat on me and put worms on my mouth and all this kind of stuff?" And Jimmy looked at me. He says, "I thought you would never remember that." I looked at him and said, "You know why I'm standing here and playing pro football? It's because of guys like you." You know, he was a hero in grade one. I was a hero as an adult. And I always tell my son that. Where do you want to be a hero? In kindergarten, middle school, high school, or as an adult? It's about your journey to get to your end destination. Don't listen to all the noise and all the bullshit that happens to you. That just develops you to make you a stronger person for when it really means something, as being an adult and being a parent and trying to lead your kids through that. So I always use that story as an example of, I'm here today. I've made it. I'm in it to win it, and I've won it.
Big go. You definitely have won it. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and I think that's a very important message to all the kids who are out there listening to this or anything like that. Whatever your experience right now in high school, it's temporary. Because high
Mm-hmm.
school, these things, then we all go through those phases. Kind of like you. I mean, I didn't get to play football in high school, so I mean, basically post high school, what you just said resonated with me because that's my fucking career started when I was an adult, when I was 18. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much why I totally agree with you. I think you want to look at it. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It really is a
That's it.
marathon. So if you
Mm-hmm.
can see
Well,
that vision early,
even the
yeah,
kids, even the kids that are getting, like my son, they were getting recruited for their scholarships, and nowadays kids are all about, I've got 20 scholarships, I got 30 scholarships, I got 40 scholarships, and like they all this pressure going on, and I'm like, it only takes one. You can't go to 30 schools. You just got to get that one opportunity and one go for it. And kids nowadays are they're more worried about the today than today actually means absolutely shit. It's
right.
tomorrow and the day after that's really going to count. So you get that one opportunity. You don't need 30 opportunities, just get that one opportunity, make the best of it, train your ass off, work hard, listen to what the coaches have to say, be a great teammate, learn how to become a leader, and the rest of your life will figure it out. You may play pro, you may not. You may end up becoming a successful businessman and a great leader. You just never know, but just take the opportunity that's in front of you. Don't worry about, well, my buddy, he's got 10 scholarships offered, I only got one. Well, fuck, all you need is one school to go to, one team
Yeah.
to play for, and that's it. So just enjoy your journey. And success is always about when you become an adult. It's not, you think back, who was the greatest high school player, who was the greatest this, who was the greatest that. No one knows any of those things. It's about when you become an adult, and that's the big thing about that's what a coach has. Like I've had good coaches in my life, great coaches. I mean, Marv Levy's coached me, uh Al Bruno's coached me, Papa Joe Faragelli's coached me. My greatest coach was Doug Trimble. And when you look at things, and why I say it is, a coach teaches you the game, a good coach wins games, and a great coach changes lives. And Doug, he changed my life, and made me a better person as being an adult. So I think that today the kids need to listen to their coaches. They need to not worry about today. Just train your ass off and work hard, and your future is all in front of you. We all get opportunities, whether it's football, another sport, business, or whatever. Business and football are all the same thing. It's about winning. It's
About
about winning.
winning. That's it.
There's a Vince Lombardi trophy and there's your paycheck.
Yeah.
It's the two same things. At the end of the day. But for me, football's been a stepping stone to being a businessman. And now I'm using my business connections to come back to being a football player again. So
It comes
yeah,
full circle, right?
it's full circle. Actually, it's kind of funny. We were talking about a book that we might be looking at doing about Bruce and I's life, because it's The Blind Side, except it's a black guy that's helped a white kid out. And Bruce's last team was the Toronto Argonauts. Bruce's first team was the Hamilton Ticats. My first team was the Hamilton Ticats. Now, if the Argos can get me in and I can go to training camp, I started with the Argos as a ball boy. And if I go back and do that and finish, then it's all full circle. I'm right back to where I started with Bruce.
It's crazy. Yeah. So let's also talk about your first comeback, because you mentioned the 6 decades. So
Yeah,
after the 90s, you basically came back in 2009, which is
9. That's
basically,
right.
yeah. So talk to me about what that was like, because you're out of the game for almost like 20 years at that point. How's that like for you?
Yeah, I moved to New Brunswick, and I said, there's a men's league out there. That'll be a cakewalk. So I started training about 30 days before the season, out
Yeah.
running and doing all that stuff. I went out there, and I was about 285. I didn't really do a lot, but I enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, I really need to take this serious. So then the next year, I hit the gym, I started training. I played at 325, and I made the all-star team and tore things up. So I had some fun that year. And then in 2011, I played one game for an all-star game where we had the New Brunswick team, and we played against the team from Ontario, the Ontario champions, and we beat them 6-3. So it was a hard fought defensive game, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the second year of my comeback, I trained, and I did well. Now this year, doing it, I'm been training a year and a half for when the season starts. So I'm training now as if I was when I was playing pro. I am working out like I'm doing everything really, really hard, pushing myself, which I didn't do in the last comeback. So this comeback here is the one that I'm really looking forward to, because it's gonna shut a lot of people up, and it's going to inspire a lot of people. Like I had one of your people send me messages in the military, and he heard I was going to be on your show, and he just wanted to say that I was inspiring to him. So you know, that's all it's all about, is inspiring and making people. So this comeback here is the one I'm really, because I got a lot of people that are in my corner, a lot of people are supporting me, and I don't want to let anybody down.
And it sounds like you definitely won't. I mean, looks like you look determined, you look focused. You look. I mean, you look like you're in great shape. So it's gonna. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. And our game is televised, and maybe at that point I can get back on your show. Maybe not the day after the game. I might be I might be in an ice bath, but the 2 days after, I should be raring to go. But that comeback back then was just basically more of a vain thing to do, saying, I was a pro football player and come out and play football with these guys. But something, they humbled me.
Right.
And then I realized, okay, age has really caught me and I need to do something. So I started to lift, and I got some rewards. And like I said, if you're comparing workouts, those workouts were doing 25% of what I'm doing now. So I expect great things coming from me this coming fall, coming spring. Sorry. So it's it'd be 3 months. Let's see, we got February, March, April. 3 months. 3 months until the game. And today we have a snow blizzard outside. We got 18 inches of snow being dumped on us. I'm putting it in American language right now. So, but we will be playing football out there in 3 months.
Yeah, so, 3 months, man.
3 months. It's gonna be fun. And some of my old teammates, they're all like, man, Burnsy, I wish I could do it, but my wife would kill me. All those kind of things. Then you get a couple of tits that talk about, it's a joke, stop making a mockery and all this kind of stuff. Well, one guy was talking, is shooting his mouth off. He's a kicker, so I don't even count them as a football player. So and the other guy, I don't even know who the hell he is. But I mean, you get all the way around. But the most importantly, what I'm getting from is I'm hearing from people that have been depressed. I'm hearing from people that are struggling mentally with some issues, and I like to think that my story and what I'm doing is inspiring people and letting people to know that what's happened to you in your past doesn't make shit. I mean, like I say, all people, like whether it's black, white, gay, lesbian. Well, it was like, obviously must have been a gay guy that banged me in my ass when I was 5 and 6 years of age, right? I was raped over 50 times. I don't hate gay people, just because of one person and stuff like that. So, you kind of you just 40 years ago we could talk about what happened to me, but that wasn't socially acceptable back then, and people would have made fun of you, all that kind of stuff. At least in society, I'm able to talk to the son and stuff like that. I've been able to open up and talk about things that have really bothered me. So it's and now I'm inspiring people. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It's how you come out of it. You get hit in the head hard, you get up hard.
100%. So that's actually a good segue. So talk to me about kind of what your goals are for 2021. Obviously the comeback, and kind of what's in store. I mean, we're gonna have you back on obviously after the game, but pretty much talk to me about what your goals for this year.
Well, my first goal is I'm going to get 2 sacks in the first game.
Ooh, okay.
on May 7th.
Okay.
I am also going to get a touchdown pass because I'm playing tight end H back. So those are my goals. Now, if I can come out of this game with 2 sacks and a touchdown, and like I said, I go back to visualizing and what have you. I've already visualized it. I've already seen what I'm going to do on the field. So now I just need the guy in front of me to go do it on and get it done. I know that I will have a great year this year because I've put in, when the season starts, I'll put in 1,800 hours of training. 1,800 hours. That's a lot of time to play 10 hours of football for 10 games, right?
Yeah.
So I've put in 1,800 hours of training and diet, no sugars anymore. We're using this. I got this special water machine that I use. It works with me in keeping my body in an alkaline state and helping, so all the nutrients are getting into my muscles and they're coming out and stuff like that. So we've gotten really, really scientific with my diet, with my training. And like I said, if anybody out there wants to, you can private message me and I can put you in touch with the guy that can explain all that to you. It's a miracle. Like, this stuff here is just like, I drink this water, and I swear to God, I go to the gym and lift weights for 2-3 hours, not even blink. Like, it's amazing, and the proteins and the nutrition, and I've gone organic, and it's I never thought I'd be an organic eating food and stuff like that, but that's what I'm doing now. And you know something? It all works. All works. So, people are telling me that I look 10 years younger than what I did a year ago, so something must be working. And it's just all the support and help that I've been getting from what I call my pit crew, and just listen to those guys and go from there. And there's no, like, you asked me visualizing, I'm not going to fail. Our team's going to win the championship. I played in this team. I played 21 games for them. We were 21-0.
Wow.
We got 2 championships. My son played last year for the team. They lost against St. John. My son came back and helped the team beat St. John not once but twice, and ended up winning the provincial championship. So I've won it twice. My son has won it once. And I think the biggest thing is that my son's getting permission to play beside me on May 7th.
Wow.
So it's going to be father and son. So as a highlights in my career, top.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. If that what's your number one moment, from your career?
That would be playing with my son.
Yeah.
Not too many dads can sit there at that level of football and say, well, I played beside my father.
Right.
That doesn't happen. So if you ask any football dad or any football guy out there that grows up and has a son that's playing football, deep down inside, we all wish we could do that. Well, I'm fortunate enough that I'm going to be able to have that opportunity, and to have my 4 girls in the stands, because my youngest one, Dana, she was like 4 years old when I played for the Mustangs, so she'll be there. Erica's never seen me. I've got my daughter Ashley, I got my daughter Erica, daughter Sarah, and my daughter Dana, and be just cool to have those 4 there. My son on the football field with me, and Bruce upstairs watching down.
Yeah. And what do you think is Bruce's overall message and kind of journey outside of kind of, his impact on you? What do you think the broader message is, for anyone that's listening?
Well, Bruce's biggest message was on love and forgiveness. When he was a football player, before he became a minister, if I would have said those things, people would not have associated the two. But Bruce was, to me, he was the greatest human. Bottom line, he was disciplined. He was fair. When people, like, you talk in the Christianity stuff, like, a lot of people will sit there and see a person on a street corner, and the person will say, I'm going to pray for you, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And Bruce's biggest thing, Bruce would go to a Subway, he would buy a sub and a coffee, and he would bring it to the guy, put his hand on his shoulder, smile, and say, I'm going to pray for you. In other words, and that's why that poster that I sent you was 6 decades and faith without works is dead. In other words, that's the biggest message that Bruce taught me, was that, you have to have faith and belief, but if you don't work at it, you're never going to get it. Like, you're not going to just lay at home and say, I want to be a millionaire, and God's going to bring you and dump $1 million on your porch and you're a millionaire. Bruce's idea was that, God will give you the ideas or the vision to be a millionaire, but you got to get your ass off your ass and go do the job and get it done. So I think that was the biggest thing that I take from Bruce. Not only that, but the unconditional love that he had towards me. I saw him in August We went to Prince Edward Island, went for lobster. He stayed with me at my cottage for 4 or 5 days, and then he flew back. And then obviously we talked every day on the phone, but then 1 week went by and I hadn't heard from him. And then he called me up, and I just snapped my ankle. I was building actually the house I'm in right now. I jumped out the window and I rolled it, and I snapped my ankle. And I was waiting to go to the hospital to get a cast on it. And I get a phone call, and it's Bruce, and he says, "Darin, I got some good news and bad news." And I was like, well, okay, well, what's the bad news? He said, "I had a heart attack." And I was like, okay, well, that's not so bad. I'm talking to you, heart attack, and someone's talking. That's a good sign. He goes, "They found I've got cancer. I got pancreatic cancer. Got pancreatic cancer, and I got less than 90 days to live." So I immediately jumped out of my bed with a broken ankle, not even thinking, ran down the stairs, told my wife what was going on, and I jumped on a plane, immediately flew down to spend some time with Bruce. And I'm glad I did, because he was dead 17 days later from the disease. But he we talked for 2 days. He gave me his expectations of what he wanted from me in life, and and then he passed. And the give me a sec. The thing that he taught me was how to live and how to die properly. So that's what I take from Bruce.
Right. Yeah, I think that's his impact is profound, and obviously, live his spirit lives strong with you. And obviously, like, his the overall message, obviously love and kindness and just never quitting,
Yeah,
is kind of what I've gotten. And I think that's what's gonna transpire May 7th. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and
I'm
that's gonna
looking
be
forward to. I'm looking forward to, strapping on there and just have one final journey with Bruce.
yeah,
That's going to be that's going to be that's going to be a crowning moment for me.
100%.
Let loose a lot of the last 8 years, and but also be able to share it with my son. My son, like when Bruce died, I was given his cross and his gold chain. He wanted me to have it, so I gave it to my son, and my son wears it on game days, and a pair of Bruce's dress shoes, and he wears his dress shoes on game day. So there's always a piece of Bruce with us when we play.
100%, 100%. I'm looking forward to May 7th.
Yeah,
There's gonna be this.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of anxiety getting towards it. But I think that like as soon as I get the stuff out of the way, and the first ball snapped and I get to hit somebody, I'll feel like I'm at home.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like that song Madonna. These used to be my playground. So I'll be playing that in my head the whole time. Because I always like to look at myself as being the king on the football field.
100%, 100%. And like you said, the young guy's gonna learn one way or another, right?
Yeah. I think that like I said, anyone that underestimates me will be that's playing against me. They're gonna look real bad. That's all I can say.
100%.
I want 100% from them, and I'm going to give them 200% right back. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm the thing I'm really excited about is the fact that with the Mustangs, I'm going to have a whole new group of younger brothers that are going to be part of my family. And that's going to be a cool thing. Like you go through my career, stuff like that. I mean, when I was a young kid, ball boy for the Argos, I remember sitting up at Exhibition Stadium having a hot dog with Walter Payton because his brother played for the Argos, Eddie.
Yeah.
So, I got to meet Walter Payton. I got to meet all these other great athletes and stuff like that, and great memories and things like that. So, I've just been really fortunate. And football is the greatest game on the planet, and CFL game, in my opinion, is the best. Sorry about the NFL. I like the CFL game. It's never over until it's over, and that's just the way I always live my life. And the NFL game, when you're up and you got the ball, you can run the clock out with a minute. The CFL game, well, fucking score 4 more touchdowns in a minute. So it's never over till it's over, and that's just the way I played my life.
100%, man. Same with me, Arena. Faster, better, like CFL faster. In my opinion, better because I'm a
Yeah,
receiver, and I mean, I love it when it's never over till it's over. And 2 minutes left of the lead is never safe, and that's what I love about
that's
it.
right.
So I agree.
I've seen a team lose. I've seen a team in CFL up by 17 points lose a game in the last 2.5 minutes. Yeah,
All right.
it doesn't take long to do that. So, and we've had some good athletes that have played in Canada that have gone down the NFL and done well at quarterbacks. Garcia, Flutie, Warren Moon,
Yep.
just to name a few. So yeah, we've got a great product up here, and I'm proud of our league.
100%. Any closing thoughts? Actually, let me ask you. You have a ring because I mean, these are my rings. From Arena,
Yeah.
JUCO. Somebody. What is that?
That's our alumni ring.
Yeah, look at that. The Maple Leaf CFL alumni ring.
Yeah, so it just your teams that you've been on and what have you. So you get that. That's the thing with the alumni. You get all the nice little perks and what have you. But and like our alumni is great. Like we do a lot of community service. Last year they had me running around doing the pass, punt, and kick all through Atlantic Canada, promoting the CFL and stuff like that. We give a lot back in our community. It's a great organization, and the guys are the veterans that have played in the league that are a part of the association. We all give back to the community, so it's great to have. It's great to have an alumni association, and it's also good to get together with the guys, and you can tell lies and old stories with yourselves when you get together at golf tournaments and things like that. So it's, but yeah, no, I've been totally blessed.
Totally blessed. Totally, totally great. Totally just all around just dedicated, and just you're basically, and I love that. That's for me too. Because I mean, with the odds stacked against you, when you're kind of when you're already one, I guess when you're starting with like one leg and you're basically trying to get there, and you're able to make something out of it. That's the story I want to hear. I mean, because I mean, all these motherfuckers with silver spoons in their mouths, and they basically their dad was fucking able to grandfather them in. We all know the politics and shit about that when you get to the pro leagues. Yeah, I mean that's not the shit I want to hear. I want to hear the fucking gritty fucking okay, like I was fucking like you said, beaten, fucking abused, this that, but that didn't stop me. And here I am at 57, ready to kick some fucking ass and knock some heads off. So I love that shit. So I mean, Darin, your story is inspiration, obviously, to me, and many others. So, any closing thoughts, for our viewers out there?
No, well, I just, just all I can tell people is don't give up on things. Keep working hard. Life's always great at the end of the day. And like I said, if anybody needs any encouragement or any help on anything like that, just go to my Facebook page, and I'll be more than happy to direct you and do what have you. And let's get together on May 8th or May 9th or May 10th after I've played my game. And, hopefully we got some video that you can put up, and 2 sacks, 1 touchdown.
2 sacks, 1 touchdown. We heard it. Yeah. Number 61, 2 sacks, 1 touchdown. Darin Burns. Y'all heard it here first. 2021, shit's gonna be popping. So so we'll be sure to tune in. All right. Okay. All right, brother. Hey, Darin, thank you so much for your time today.
Okay. And thanks, brother. See you.
Take care.
Bye now. Bye.